And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. There's a popular dice rolling game that a lot of people know about called Las Vegas. And it's been around for a little while and it's very popular. Well, there's an expansion out for this, but it only has come out in Europe and it's not coming out in the United States until 2015. However, stupid me spent way too much money and bought a copy and spent probably more shipping than it cost to get it over here. We're talking about Las Vegas Boulevard because I love the game Las Vegas and I wanted to see if it was worth it for the rest of you guys for when it comes to 215 or is it worth it for someone to buy right now. Let's take a look. I'll show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. This video is going to assume you know how to play the game Las Vegas because these are many mini modules that you can add to that game. Now in the normal Las Vegas, you have to add at least $50,000 to each casino. This card shows you and scales you between the players, so with two players, there only has to be $30,000 at least at any casino, and it scales all the way up where you have to have at least 90 for 8 players, and it's good for scaling. The next one is they add denominations of 100,000. They look exactly the same, so they work with the other game, with the base game. They add about 5 of these, and it's good to mix these in. I don't think I'll ever not use these. The next thing is 3 new colors of dice. So you used to be able to play the game with 5 players. Now you can play with up to 8 players, giving 3 new colors. They add 2 more white dice. So when you play with the neutral player variant in the base game, you now can do this with the 5 players. Each of the 5 players can now have 2 neutral white dice. They add these big dice, which are a lot bigger than the normal ones. They all have black pips, but except the black orange is white, but they're a lot bigger too. So if someone had their orange normal die on this casino of 2, and the blue player, boom, puts his big die, this is worth 2 dice. So this one would be beating this right now, 2 dice to 1. Now these purple dice can be a player on its own, as I showed you earlier, or they can be used as kicker dice. Depending on the amount of players, you'll take 1 or 2 of these, and you'll take 1 or 2 of these and trade it for 1 or 2 of your normal colored dice. And essentially this would replace 2 of your normal colored dice. And what happens is let's say I rolled and I have 2, a 4, and a 2, and I'm the gray player. Well, I see this 2 is here. What I could do is I have to place, obviously, all the 2s here. If I want to place 2s, put it here, and this purple die is a kicker, and it can kick this die. It kicks the orange die back to the orange player, and this purple one comes out of the game for good. So you can use this to kick other people off, or maybe later on, maybe this die here, maybe I don't want it on 2, and I can end up using it to kick my own die off to get it back into my hand to go for something else that I might have a shot winning. They have 5 of these rainbow cards that are the same as money cards. So when you're putting out money for casinos, when you're putting them out, they're basically a denomination of 40 when you're trying to figure out if a casino should have more money or not. But once you win one of these cards, it's basically a wild. Essentially, you'll take the top one off, and that's what you get. If you get a rainbow and you pretty much put it back, and you'd get, that one's only worth 20, but you could roll the 100. So this adds a little bit of randomization and a little bit of unknowingness to the game. The slot machine card acts as another casino. So you put this out with the other casinos, you put money on it just like any other casino. The trick to this one is when someone places some dice here, they can place any number as long as that number on the die is not there. So this player the gray player plays 2 1s. Now, no one else can place any 1s on this. So maybe next, the orange player places 2 6s, and then maybe later, the purple player places a 4, and then maybe later the purple player places a 5. Notice that we cannot place any die that's already there. At the end, whoever has the most dice on there is going to win. If it's tied, you add up the pips and that person wins the amount. There's also these bonus cards. Now these are shuffled and randomly dealt face down to each player, and they vary from $30,000 to $70,000. And what this means, now everybody will have basically a die of a color that's not being used in the game in front of them, and it's going to be set to a 1 at the beginning of the game. Now, if this is my card, and nobody will see this because only I will know it, and you get 1 of these each round, if I get a $30,000 note at the end of the round, once everyone's gotten all their money, we flip these up and shows, well, who did this? So if I got a 30,000, I would move this from 1 to 2, meaning boom, it's gone up 1. And you do this each round. At the end of the game, you take the number that's on your die, you multiply it by 50,000, and that's how much extra you get. It adds a little bit of unknowingness as to what people are going. It gives you some incentive to go for things you normally might not want to go for. And it adds a little bit of randomness to it as well, but it has a big payoff. The last thing I'm going to show you are these bonus cards. These get dealt out face down to each player, and they secretly have a special ability for that round. Each round you're going to get a new one. This one is, some of them are immediate, some of them are you have to play at a special time. Like this one, when playing dice, you can place any additional number of dice on the casino that you just placed at least one die, so you can add a bunch. Now, these you can keep face down until you use them. When playing dice, if you roll 2 dice to the same number, you may place them at any casino. Turn the dice accordingly. Place this card beside any casino. At the end of your next turn, you may distribute money from the casino if you want. So all different sort of special abilities. I had one here that allows you to reroll all your dice once. So it's all different special abilities. It does add a little bit of kind of randomness to the game. Skip your turn if you want. You could take any one already placed die back into your supply. Different things like that. All right, there's Las Vegas Boulevard. So, is it worth it? Was it worth it for me to be pretty much stupid and spend about $45 US on an expansion that comes with like a handful of dice and a few cards? Whew, I don't know. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna go through all the modules here. There's a lot there. So the first module, the one that where you add the different amount of money at each casino. Good, we played it. It makes it seem like, at least on the lower player counts as well, a little bit more cutthroat because there's less cards out there generally. But it scales it to higher players too. I don't see why I would ever not use this. So yeah, that's a good one. The $100,000 banknotes. Hey, why didn't they add them in the base game? Well, they weren't there. They're here now. I'll never not use them. It just adds even more high stakes to the game. The 3 extra player dice. Sure, you're gonna add 8 players, it's great. With the caveat being, with 5 players, it's already a long enough game for what it is for 4 rounds. If I play more than 5 players, I'm probably going to play 3 rounds, and if I play with 8 players, I'm probably going to play 2 rounds, just to keep the game at 45-ish minutes. Otherwise, a game of this depth probably doesn't need to go that long. The 2 extra white dice, cool. Always use it now. If you have 5 players, you're going to have 2 neutral dice. Always use it. The big dice. This was one of my favorite. It's just cool to have the big die. You put it there, and it's towering over. And it just gives you that extra added strategy there of to when to place that die. When do you want to do it? It's worth 2. Love it. I'll never not play with the big die now. The purple dice, using them as kickers. This is something we really liked a lot. I can't say I'm going to use it every single game. This might be something that I might actually throw in, like, hey, it's round 4, the last round. We're going to throw in the kicker this round. The kickers were cool. I liked how they were a double-edged sword. You could use them to kick other people's dice out. But at the same time, later on, if you still have them and you have like a die that you went for a casino early, but then you just got pummeled and you know you're never going to win it, and you roll that die on the kicker die, you can kick your die back to you. So I really liked it a lot. Keep in mind when you do play the kicker dice though, since you're kicking dice back to people, it does make the game longer. So you may want to, if it's still a good, depth length for you with the kicker dice, it's fine. Some people might want to take 1 round out when they use the kicker dice. That's going to be just something to think about, but I really like it. I won't use it every time, but it is really good to add it once in a while. All right, the rainbow cards. I don't see why I wouldn't play with these anymore. I'll mix them in pretty much every time. Sure, it's a randomness. It adds a little bit of randomness to the game, but it is kind of fun that nobody will go for it. And at the end, you got like a die, and you're like, hey, I'll throw it on the rainbow die. I'll try to go there, and to see how much people will push for the not knowing. And that's a cool thing. I'll probably always use it. The slot machine. This was one of my favorites. This was such a cool and unique thing, because sometimes towards the end of the round, you might roll a 1 and you're like, well, shoot, somebody's got that one wrapped up. This one does me no good. Oh, there's no 1s on the slot machine. I already have a 3 over there. Let me go over there. It gives you another choice, and you're not stuck with a bad roll towards the end of the round. I really liked the slot machine. The bonus cards, the ones where you have secretly dealt the cards and you're trying to get that denomination. If you do, you get to increase the die. Okay, from this one, I always like hidden goals in games. I really like them. So I like the hidden goal aspect of this, but I did not like the result. When you flip it over, you can just it's too random for me. Because twice, in the last game we played, 2 of the 4 rounds, the card that was mine didn't even come out. I didn't even have a choice to get it. But somebody else has the card 70, and he put all his marbles in there. I would have liked it better. I thought it would have been more balanced if it wasn't 50,000 per every die pip at the end. I felt like that was just too random for that big of a fluctuation. Maybe if it was like 20, it would have been a little bit more balanced. So I probably won't use this one very much. The special ability cards, they were okay. They were kind of cool to like have a special ability, you don't know what it is, and you flip it up and use it. It was okay. I can't say I'm going to use it every time. Maybe once in a while I'll mix it in to kind of keep things fresh. Maybe the last round we throw in like that or something like that. That's not one I'm going to use every time. Then there was a new game variant, a whole new way to play the game that I did not show you in the overview. And at first I really loved it. It's a much more gamery, thinky way to play this, but the rules are terrible. And the pictures contradict the words. Some of the words contradict other words, whether you get the highest note or the bottom note. All I can say is that this variant has very good possibility of being a great way to play this with gamers, but the rules are so terrible, and we haven't gotten the right answer on BGG yet, exactly how to score it. But it is very intriguing. If we can get the right rules and play test it again, I think this can be a very gamery way to play Las Vegas. So overall, is it worth it? I paid 45 American dollars. That included shipping from Germany to get here. And I got a chunk full of dice and a bunch of cards, a handful of cards. Was it worth it? Ooh, it was steep, but for 45 bucks, I'd say for me, it was worth it because I love this game. It's one of my favorites, and it makes the game even more enjoyable, and we can mix in and out a lot of things. And I can't imagine playing the game without some of these modules now. So for me, it was worth it. For you, you can wait to 2015 and probably get it at a lot lower price, or you can find one of the German people selling it on Board Game Geek on the marketplace and pay about the 45 bucks if you really want it. For me, it was worth it. For you, you might want to wait. Las Vegas, Boulevard.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.